7 cars that look great on paper, feel great in the showroom, and quietly make your life harder every single day after you buy them. If you're over 50, these are the vehicles you need to avoid. And I'm going to tell you exactly why, with real numbers and real reasons. Let's get into it. Here's what nobody warns you about. Car manufacturers design for their biggest buying demographic, and that demographic is not you. It's the 35-year-old who wants a sporty roofline, a low driving position, and a touch screen that covers half the dashboard. Those design choices look incredible in ads. They feel like compromises every morning when your knee reminds you it's not 35 anymore. This list is the honest conversation the dealership will never have with you. Before we get to number 1, and this first one catches more people than any other, understand that avoiding the wrong car is just as important as finding the right one. A bad choice here costs you money, costs you comfort, and in some cases, costs you physically over a 7 to 10-year ownership period. So, pay attention. Number 1. Mazda MX-5. Miata. Beautiful car, wrong body position. Let's start with the one that breaks people's hearts because they love this car. The Mazda MX-5 Miata is genuinely one of the most enjoyable cars to drive on a winding road. The steering is precise, the engine is responsive, and the whole experience is alive in a way that most modern cars aren't. But here is the reality. The Miata's seat sits approximately 14 inches off the ground. 14 inches. The ergonomic safe zone for over 50 entry and exit starts at 22 inches. The gap between where this car puts you and where your joints need you to be is 8 inches of pain. Every single time you get in, every single time you get out. Getting into a Miata requires you to lower yourself down past the point where most people with any knee or hip limitation have full muscular control of the descent. You're not sitting down. You're essentially falling the last few inches and hoping the seat catches you. Getting out requires a hip flexor engagement and a knee bend that, in a healthy 25-year-old, is unremarkable. In someone with even mild arthritis or a replaced joint, it's a genuine physical challenge that worsens over time. But here's where it gets worse. The Miata's cockpit is narrow by design. That's part of what makes it feel so connected. But narrow means the door opening is tight, the steering wheel is close, and repositioning yourself once you're in is difficult. If you need to adjust your seating position after a long drive, you are working in a very small space. The fix, if you love the Miata experience, is to look at the Mazda MX-5 RF, the retractable fastback version. It's the same car, but with a slightly more substantial roof structure and marginally easier entry. It's still not a good choice for bad knees, but it's less punishing than the soft top. Better yet, redirect that love of driving toward the Mazda CX-5, which delivers Mazda's excellent driving dynamics in a crossover body that sits at the right height. Number 2, Chevrolet Camaro, the sports car that punishes you daily. Same category, different price point, different problem. The Chevrolet Camaro is an American muscle icon. The 6th-generation model looks aggressive, sounds aggressive, and performs aggressively. The 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder base engine produces 275 horsepower. The V8 makes 455 horsepower. These are real numbers that do real things on a real road. But the Camaro's visibility is one of the worst of any vehicle currently on sale in the United States. The rear window is tiny, almost a slit. The thick C-pillars create enormous blind spots. The front hood rises steeply, limiting your view of what's directly in front of the car in parking situations. The side windows are small and sit high, which restricts your outward sightlines at intersections. Most car owners don't realize this until they've owned the car for 3 months, and the tension of navigating parking lots and lane changes has already become a daily stressor. Stress while driving is not neutral. It raises your alertness burden, it tightens your shoulders and neck, and over time it contributes to the fatigue that makes driving feel like work instead of something you enjoy. The step in height problem is identical to the Miata category: low, narrow, and demanding on the way in and out. The Camaro also has no meaningful rear seat for adults. If you ever drive passengers, family, friends, grandchildren, the back seat is a formality, not a functional space. This is where it becomes expensive. Not in repair bills, but in the hidden cost of owning a car that doesn't match your life. The Camaro is a weekend car pretending to be a daily driver. At 50 plus, your daily driver needs to actually work every day. Number 3. Tesla Model 3. Technology that works against you. This one is going to surprise some people, and I want to be precise about why. because it's not about Tesla as a company or electric vehicles as a category. Electric vehicles are genuinely excellent for many over 50 buyers. The Model 3 specifically has a problem that affects this age group disproportionately. The Model 3 has eliminated nearly all physical controls from its interior. Almost everything – climate, mirrors, steering wheel adjustment, wiper speed, glove box release – is operated through the central touchscreen. There are no stalks on the steering column for turn signals in newer versions. There is no instrument cluster in front of the driver. Everything is in the center. For someone who learned to drive when physical controls were the standard, and who has decades of muscle memory built around reaching for a specific knob or button without looking, the Model 3 requires you to relearn basic driving interactions from scratch. That relearning process is not fast. It takes months for new habits to become automatic. During those months, you are taking your eyes off the road more frequently and for longer durations to do things that should require zero visual attention. But here's where it gets worse. As we age, the ability to divide attention between multiple tasks, called cognitive load management, shifts. A task that a 25-year-old handles without conscious effort may require real attention at 55 or 65. Buried touchscreen menus during active driving create exactly that divided attention demand at exactly the age when the cost of divided attention is highest. The fix: if you want an electric vehicle, and there are excellent reasons to want one, look at the Tesla Model Y instead, which has a higher seating position and slightly more intuitive layout, or the Ford Mustang Mach-E, or the Hyundai Ioniq 5. The Ioniq 5 in particular has physical buttons for its most used climate functions and a driving position that sits correctly for over 50 ergonomics. Dodge Challenger, the one that looks comfortable and isn't. The Dodge Challenger is the muscle car that tricks people most effectively because it actually looks like it might be comfortable. It's wide, it's large. The interior has a retro style with big gauges and a substantial feel. It looks like the kind of car a serious driver would want. Here is the reality. The Challenger's front seats are wide and initially comfortable, but they lack meaningful lumbar adjustment in base and mid trims. The seatback has a fixed lower back profile that works for one spine shape. If your spine doesn't match that fixed shape, and most people's doesn't, you will know it by the end of a 45-minute drive, and you will really know it by the end of a 2-hour highway trip. The Challenger also has the same rear visibility problem as the Camaro: thick rear pillars, a small rear window, and significant blind spots. The backup camera helps, but the side and rear quarter views are legitimately limited. The 5.7-liter Hemi V8 in the RT trim produces 370 horsepower and 395 foot-pounds of torque. That sounds wonderful. What it means in practice is an engine that lunges with the throttle, requires constant management in traffic, and demands that you stay alert and active behind the wheel at all times. For a 20-minute spirited drive on a Saturday, that's exciting. For a daily commute in traffic over 50 miles round trip, that demand is exhausting. And this is where it becomes expensive. The Challenger's fuel consumption on a 5.7-liter V8 averages around 15 to 16 miles per gallon in city driving. At current fuel prices over a 60,000-mile ownership period, you are spending thousands more on fuel compared to a modern crossover or hybrid. That money doesn't come back. If you want more honest, practical car advice built specifically for people over 50, subscribe right now. We do this every week, and it will absolutely save you money and frustration. Number 5. BMW 2 Series Coupe, prestige with a daily cost. Here is the vehicle that represents a very specific and common mistake. You've worked hard, you've earned real purchasing power. You walk into a BMW dealership and the 2 Series Coupe looks and feels like exactly the reward you deserve. The interior quality is exceptional. The driving dynamics are genuinely outstanding. The engine in the M240i produces 382 horsepower and 369 foot-pounds of torque, delivered through a smooth 8-speed automatic. It is, by almost every objective measure, a brilliant performance car. But the 2 Series Coupe sits low, step in height of approximately 18 to 19 inches, and the sport-tuned suspension, which is part of what makes it so rewarding to drive, transmits road imperfections directly and firmly through the seat. This is intentional. BMW's sport suspension philosophy prioritizes driver feedback over ride comfort. On smooth roads, the result is a communicative, engaging experience. On American roads, with their expansion joints, potholes, and variable pavement quality, the result is a car that is consistently firm in a way that accumulates in your lower back over time. Most car owners don't realize this until the first long road trip. 3 hours into a 6-hour drive, you're shifting in your seat. 4 hours in, your lower back has had enough. You stop more frequently, arrive more fatigued, and wonder why a car that felt so right on the test drive feels so wrong on the journey. The maintenance costs are the second problem. BMW's parts and labor rates are premium. A routine brake job on a 2 Series can run 4 to 5 times the cost of the same job on a Toyota. An out-of-warranty suspension repair, and sports suspensions wear faster than standard tuning, can reach several $1,000s. This is where it becomes expensive in the most literal sense. If the BMW brand and driving experience matter to you, and they are legitimate things to value, look at the BMW X3 in the xDrive 30i configuration. Standard suspension, higher seating position, same engine quality, and dramatically better daily usability. Number 6. Nissan Z, the enthusiast trap. The Nissan Z is one of the most emotionally compelling cars on sale today. It carries decades of heritage. The current generation's 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged V6 produces 400 horsepower and 350 foot-pounds of torque. The design is dramatic and purposeful. If you grew up admiring the original Z cars, the 240Z, the 280Z, this car hits something real, and that emotional pull is exactly why it makes this list. The Z is a 2-seat sports car with a step-in height in the 18 to 19-inch range, a stiff performance suspension, and a cockpit designed for driver engagement rather than driver comfort. The seats hold you in position for spirited driving. They are bolstered aggressively at the hip and shoulder. Those bolsters are helpful in corners. In everyday driving, they create pressure points at the outer hip that become uncomfortable within 30 minutes for anyone with any hip padding, which, candidly, most people over 50 have more of than they did at 25. But here's where it gets worse. The manual transmission version, which is one of the main appeals of this car, requires left leg clutch engagement in every stop-and-go traffic situation. If you have any left knee sensitivity, city driving in a manual transmission sports car is a repetitive stress scenario. Even the automatic version sits in the same low, bolstered, firm package. The Nissan Z is a car to drive on a Sunday. It is not a car to live with on a Tuesday. And at this stage of life, most of your driving is Tuesday driving. Number 7. The peak warning Ram 1500 Classic. The truck that looks practical and isn't. This is the most important one on the list, and it's the one that causes the most financial damage, because this mistake looks like a smart, practical decision when you make it. Ram 1500 Classic is a full-size pickup truck. It's popular, it's capable, and it's priced accessibly compared to newer Ram configurations. For someone who does real truck work, hauling, towing, carrying materials, it makes sense. For someone who thinks they might do truck work someday, or who just likes the look and the presence of a truck, it is an expensive mistake. Here is the step-in height problem at its most extreme. Ram 1500 Classic, even in 2-wheel drive form without a lift kit, has a step-in height of approximately 28 to 32 inches, depending on trim and tire size. That means getting in requires either a significant step-up motion from a standing position or reliance on the grab handle and sidestep. Getting down requires a controlled drop that, if your knee gives slightly at the wrong moment, creates a real injury risk. Over a 5-year ownership period, performed twice daily, that is over 3,600 entry and exit events. Each one asks something of your knees, hips, and lower back. The cumulative effect is not trivial. But here's the deeper problem, and this is where most people don't connect the dots. Full-size trucks have a higher center of gravity than crossovers and sedans. They require more steering input to change direction. They need more physical attention to park in standard spaces. The turning radius on the Ram 1900 is nearly 46 feet, which means U-turns in typical streets require multiple back-and-forth maneuvers and constant shoulder rotation to check clearance. For anyone with neck stiffness or limited shoulder mobility, parking a full-size truck in a grocery store lot is a genuine physical and mental workout every single time. The maintenance reality compounds this. Full-size trucks burn significantly more fuel than crossovers. Ram 1500 V8 averages around 15 miles per gallon combined. Tires for a full-size truck cost more and wear faster under empty truck driving conditions than truck tires are designed for. And if you're not using the truck bed regularly, you are paying the fuel, tire, and maintenance cost of a work vehicle while using it as a passenger car. The fix is specific and honest. If you genuinely need a truck, you tow a boat, you haul materials regularly, you live on a property that requires it, Ram 1500 is a capable tool. Get the running boards, practice the entry and exit until it's controlled, and manage the rest. But if your honest answer to "how often do I use the truck bed" is occasionally or someday, a midsize crossover with a roof rack and a trailer hitch does 95% of what the truck does without any of the daily penalties. The bottom line. Here is the bottom line. Every car on this list is, in its own way, a good car. The Miata is brilliant. The Camaro is exciting. The BMW 2 Series is genuinely exceptional. But none of them were designed for your life right now. They were designed for a different buyer, a different set of priorities, and a different physical reality. Avoiding the wrong car is not settling. It's smart. It means your money goes toward a vehicle that works with your body, fits your daily life, and doesn't slowly cost you in ways the sticker price never shows. Now here is my question for you. Have you ever bought a car that looked perfect in the showroom and turned out to be wrong for your life? What was it? And what was the problem nobody warned you about? Drop it in the comments. Your experience might save someone else from making the same mistake. And if this gave you something honest that the dealership would never tell you, subscribe. Every week, we cover exactly this kind of real, practical car information for drivers over 50. See you in the next one.